Then we come to select by layers. There are different layers, like you can set cutting layer, piercing, cutting layer, and then also marking layer and different layers. So it will be able to adjust the cutting sequence. Then it's about internal and external parts. Like there are different parts which is inside the same, like there's a circle part there and then a square part inside it. Then we will need to ensure what is to cut by external and what is the internal contour. Now we choose inside because they intercept, so it's hard to tell what is inside and which one is outside. Then again, with multiple layers, it's difficult to tell which one is inside and outside too. Then we will select by parts. Like there are different kinds of shapes or type of things like point, line, arc, ellipse, and different and circle, etc. So it will be very convenient if we can just select single type of parts by its shape. Then for this kind of function, you can select some parts and then move it. And then rotating. Now rotate 19 degrees in any direction, clockwise, anti-clockwise, etc. So for random rotation, we need to select the reference, then move it around. Then we can change the scale. There are two different kinds of change, like interrelated change or fixed. We may zoom in or zoom out. Then by fixed scale, you can set your own ratio. You can lock it or unlock it. So you always pick the part you want to change and then set it later. You can also set the times for multiply. Then this is mirror function. Different kinds of mirror function like horizontal, vertical, or any angles. You need to do it. then horizontal or vertical. Then this is to any angle you like. After that, this is a line function. So many different kinds of alignment, like from the left, from the right, top or bottom, from the center part, horizontal, vertical. So this is a line from the left side. You see, both selected parts just go to the right, to the left, then to the right or to the center. For groups or disband, so we can group the parts into as a one whole part. So later on, it will be easier to change if you group them together. Then we can also ungroup it if you want a separate change of one of them. So it becomes from one whole part to 4 different small things. So let's make another example. First, draw a line. Okay, so there are 2 lines you can see here. So we want to merge them together. Normally, when you just draw lines, there will be a tiny gap between the 2 lines that you may not see, but actually they are 2 independent things in terms of drawings. Then you will need to merge them together. So you set a distance first. So like, for example, 1 millimeter is what you set, then they will merge together when they found distances within such range. Then you set layer. So you can see we picked the pink color, which set it as a layer. And then after we merge it, then the whole drawing will, the whole part will become it was seen as one integrated part. Then opposite to merge, there is explode, which is separating the parts from 1 to 2 separate lines. So when you explode the thing to explode a rectangle, then it will become 4 independent lines. Then is break function. There are 2 different types. One is automatically break and the other one is manually break. So there are numbers that you like to break, and what is the length? So it's like breaking a line into two sections. So here we have another example. We draw a line and then we can pick. So what you see, it looks like one line, but actually there are four. Then we need to delete the duplicated lines. We also set the tolerance first, and then minimum length. And then you see there are no more duplicated lines. You can pick all of them and then merge them together and make it back to one. Then it's stopped. There may be very tiny figures when engineers preparing the CAD drawings. It is easy to be ignored when we open the drawing from the cutting software. So they may be missed. We can delete those kind of tiny things by this function. Delete tiny, like dots, tiny circles, tiny curves, which may not be fully cut later. Like we will need to set the maximum diameter and scales. Confirmed. Then the three dots will be deleted. It's possible that when the technicians prepare the drawing, they draw a circle, but actually it's just many arcs instead. Then we will use this function convert polyline to circle in order to make them to merge to one whole circle. So we will give an example. This is a multi-segment line. Then we will draw another one with many breakpoints. So there's a function called simplify curve. Then the one we draw later with many breakpoints will now become a straight line without those breakpoints. Then you can delete the first line, simplify again. Then you see it will be recognized as a whole. So it can also be used to convert the arcs to circles. There's an example, which is hexagon. Now you see, after we change the size to 30, it will become a part which very likely to looks like a circle, but it actually not. Then we can merge it. First we explode it, then it becomes different sections. And then we merge it. Then it becomes a whole part instead of a 30-side shape. Now it's an enclosed graph. This is a closed multi-segment line. By using such function, it turns a multi-segment line to one single line, and then make it a circle. So the point is we have to explode it first to make it a multi-segment parts before merge it again to become the part to get making together. Then we will talk about the trim function. So there are lots of intersections here. We select the part and then select trim self-intersection. You can see there are lots of dots. This function would also turn the text to graphs. For example, HSG, this is a text. And then it's not recognized as a graph. And we cannot change it, change the size of it. Then we turn text into graph. In such case, it can be changed, the width, the height. So it's now ratio. So this is about the scale. Okay, so this function is to turn text into graphics. Okay, so this is new. Like example first. This is copied with base font. And change the size here. Copy and paste. And here on this function, we choose the base font and then paste it. The position will be relative to the original one. So there will be a reference.
Excuse me, can we ask a question? Hello? Hello?
And paste, different paste as group.
Can you ask a question, please?
Yes, Andy, I'm here. 1 second.
Okay.
Then we select all three shapes.
罗工，请问能听到吗？罗工，客户想问一个问题。
Copy and paste as a group. So there will be three squares to be pasted all together.
总部，请问有人吗？总部。罗工。
Okay, so you see the difference. To paste it as a group, or simple page will be pasting them as 3 individual parts.
Andy, I believe maybe you can write down your question and I will report to them after the meeting.
Okay, is this a video now, or is it a real, or is it just a video that is playing now?
I believe it's
live.
It's a video, maybe. It's a video.
Okay.
This is instant pre-process.
Yes.
So sometimes the clicking is way too fast, but okay, I will ask my questions later then. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Similar to multi-line simplification. So you can see all the functions we just talked about here, show here. So this is integrated to put them all together. This is simplification of the curve. Then convert polyline to circle, trim self-intersection, convert text to graphic.客户说这个视频有点太快了，问那个鼠标可不可以在周围发出那个光？但是这是录的，不是计时。倍数让你调一下可不可以？是不是倍数回冲？
不用就先那么讲，然后之后呢，到时候把这个视频再发给你，这样
Hello, Mark and Andy. We got your questions and suggestions. Thank you. We will later on send you the videos and the whole everything about the training, so you will get a chance to look at it later. Okay, now it comes to setting the space between the parts. And now you see there's an unclosed shape. So it will be yellow after this one-click setting. This function enables quick change of shapes. So for this square, you see many similar parts here. There are 6 similar shapes, and 3 of them are in a group. Then we use quick setting to select the graphic to make quick bench changes. You can add the leads, add whatever you want. Add lead, modify the start point. You can see all 6 shapes have been modified. This is bench modification. For this bench modification, this is just a backup plan. We need to do it before nesting. There's also scanning cutting. It's the same as scanning cutting. We draw a square, size is 50. Then let's do an array. Space is 0. So they are all connected together. Then because you see that it is outside, so we need to move it. This is moving of cutting head. Phrase is simulation. So this is the normal way. You see it goes the duplicated lines again and again. So we can use common edge. For edge function, there are different strategies and settings. Then we select grid here. So you can see it will cut the rows first and then columns later. So it will greatly increase the cutting efficiency. Right click. Now we draw another example. So common edge. So we now try to type C, canonical edge, to see what it happened. So you can see the cutting tooth path will be different. So it's cutting C shape. So the repeated edge will only cut once instead of the compared to the original one. This is C-type common edge. So again, we try different things, select different layers. Here you can see the blue layer ones will be cut later. And then as they are in different layers, the co-edge function will not be performed. So again, another example. So we pick here co-edge among layers. Now, even though they are in different layers, the co-edge function will be applied. We'll demo again. Pepsi, co-edge among layers, tick, tick. Okay, then we'll see what will happen. So you see the colors will be defaulted as the same. So here's point co-edge. And extend starting point. You set 2 millimeter. Okay, so it's too big. You see, maximum one is 0.5. So you see the start point location is changed. Okay, we'll do it again. Okay, so you may be a bit confused. What is the function for this choice when we do the stop point delay? This is mainly for thick plates. As for thick plates, it will not have piercing stage. But we normally for thick plates, the heat will be accumulated and probably the edge may be deformed, so we will need to move the stop point to a bit earlier or later, so it will avoid the deformed area, and there will be less choice for the piercing stage to avoid the piercing exploded. So the stop point will be better. Okay, so we continue. So we now comes to prevent collision. To set overcut distance, for example, 1 millimeter. So you see the stop point will be offset by some distance after previous straight cut. Then you see normally is at the corner. When we select this function, it can prevent collision. So you see it's overcut by 1 millimeter. Okay, so for easy observation, we now draw a tidy square. Make an array. Zero 0.5 millimeter extend set it starting point. So we just set the cutting speed to a little bit slower for observation. our original stop point. We select prevent collision of 1 millimeter. Okay, you can see the stop point position has changed. So it's very clear now. It goes a bit outside. So now we talk about the border first function. So it goes one by the other. Here is setting the tooth pass. Then there's a manual setting. Production report function. We need to enter the information of the materials. Now, what is the width? What kind of material it is? Length of the plate. Thickness. Then we generate the report. This is production report we got. So now you see when we select different graphics, the report will be different. So you would generate different reports based on what you select. Now this is next report. Set the price. So there are different kinds of price, like in the price of the host, price per meter, price based on area, or price based on working hours. So we can look at it in details. So different conditions. Now we see the work coordinates, X and Y axis. Coordinate will not change, even though cutting height is changed. So we can also set work origin. Means you can set original point of X and Y. It's not recommended to set Y axis. This function will make the manufacturer more flexible and convenient. This is count setting. You may clear or reset the finished piece to 0. So you may select when it reaches the end, there will be prompt or no. So we may select based on your need. Here is the menu bar. New, import, open function, save, undo, redo, some common things. Show order to show the cutting order, and show direction from left to right. Highlight the unclosed objects. Then you see these unenclosed objects will be highlighted to red. Straight lines will be recognized as unenclosed parts. Show check, show machining check. Fetch function. It is similar to CAD function. Catch options enables further settings for catch function. Just like AutoCAD. Center point, quadrant point, middle point, and end point. Polar axis. Other functions, like point of intersection, point of tangency, foot point, auto attach distance, pixels. Select all or clear all. Sensitivity. If you set it to low, it's more convenient to zoom in or zoom out. Okay. And then we will talk about the machine functions. You can only modify graphics, but not select anything. Then choose to exit bench processing state. So this is low G code. We've talked about it before. Machine assist functions. Now we move to technique. These are the cutting recipes or cutting parameters, including carbon steel, stainless steel, copper, and aluminum. Things we'll usually cut. Then we will select the gas. We can set our own technique. For example, copper. For what thickness, what power, what is the nozzle, what kind of gas we use. We prefer speed or quality. Some remarks. For example, date. Then we set the cutting parameters and save it. Then that's how we add the new cutting recipe. Here is what we add. You can delete it or modify it. You can also use backup function. You need to select the parameter you like to backup and then save it. You can also set automatic backup. This is the package we just backup. And then we can restore. Choose the file we just saved. So when you need to reload the control system, that is very useful to save what you have used before. Okay, here is to import layers. Then edit the parameter for each layer. Import a single layer process. Is rarely used. Manage the materials. And we lamp it. You see here, this is adding a new one. You can also delete it. Here comes the monitor part. This is the cutting head. What is the focus range? What is the current focus? The current pressure for assist gas. And it's monitor for laser source. And then a follow height for z-axis, cutting head axis. Speed of z-axis. Capacitance, position, maximum speed. And then this is port setting. So we are not recommending to change any input and output ports. When there's an alarm, it will show here. Port signal status is tested every 4 seconds. Milliseconds, sorry. Change the polarity of the port. NC or NO. NC is normally closed, NO is normally open. When we change it to normally open, or we can change it to normally closed. So there are different, so you can convert it. Normally we just use it to for checking instead of modifying. When you need any help or you want to modify it, please let us know. And this is log list to show the alarm of the machine. Show alarms, so arrows, all logs, RIV history. Here's time and description. Logs for different dates. Refresh it to make it the most updated. So we don't recommend to clear it as it will be difficult to find the history. Next is about report. Invert, merge, details to show the current files. So here details, we can come by merge, we can combine the two reports to one. This is filter the start or end time. So we can give it a specific time. Delete files. Change the pricing criteria. Normally we can export, but as this is a demo version, it cannot be used. Here's production report. Same as what we just discussed. We'll show graphics here. But for this report, we cannot show the graphs. Zoom out to make it better look. For setting, this is common parameter for the machine. Frame check speed for the frame function on the right-hand side. This is corner accuracy. precision of the corner or arc. Chamfered function, make it round corner. So here is the accuracy of arc. The higher the accuracy, the slower the speed it will be. And this is breakpoint continue. If you don't select, device will not perforate while you breakpoint, or it just start directly. Action after end. No more moving. Or you can set to make it back to some point. Like back to a fixed point, back to a work origin. So we recommend to set it as no action. Then is following setting. To enable leapfrog and the distance. Then the follow maximum height, following maximum height, where the set axis stops, height of fixed height cut. So for common cutting, the cutting head will drop and then cut and then lift up again, and then move to the next location. And then to do the same actions over again. So it's drop, cut, lift up. So for frog jump, it will drop, perforation, cutting, completes the edge, and then lift up while is uplifting, and then drop directly to the stop point. So it is moving while uplifting or side lifting. So there will be a parabola. So here we set the distance is 5 millimeters. When the two parts is closer, less than 5 millimeters, this function will not enable. Then the logic will be falling down the cutting head, and then piercing, and then it will move, and then pierce, and then cut again. There will be no lifting action when the space between two parts is less than 5 millimeters. Just direct movement. Then for the maximum height, when the perforation parameter is set, or cutting parameter is set to be greater than 8 millimeter, the cutting head will sense it and then lift to the set height and then drop accordingly to start cutting. Then here is the setting for maximum following height. The logic is that when perforation and cutting height is below 80 millimeter, it will be lowered directly to the set height to perforate and cut. When the perforation or cutting parameter is higher than 80 millimeter, it will descend to the plate once and then rise to the set height. And then perforation, cutting, and repeat. So it will take more time. So less than 8 millimeter, it will just go straight down to perforation level. Then start working. Greater than 8 millimeter, it will firstly descend to the plate. Then after sensing the plate, it will rise again to the height of perforation and then start working. Then we will talk about Z-axis stopping point. When the device is stopped, the stop position of Z-axis of cutting head, or when two parts are very far apart, or you are using a normal cut or frog jump, the frog, the Z-axis lifting height and perforation and down perforation cutting to complete lifting cutting head. The lift is moved at -1. Drop, piercing, cutting, and then lift up. And then that is a -1 position. Then when you select a fixed height cut, the cutting head will not show sensitivity. It will obtain the current cutting head position as cutting height. You can also manually set the gas position. Oh, sorry, I mean gas parameter. When you click the blowing function and turn on the inlet and press the button on your remote, it will blow out the corresponding gas you pick here. This is delay or gas change, because when you cut different materials, like for carbon steel, you need oxygen. For stainless steel, you need nitrogen. it will need to set delay gas. So it will clear the remaining gas in the gas line. We delay the first flow. Is flowing delay. When cutting or manually turning on get air flowing, it is defaulted for so it will be applied for both cutting or manually blowing. Then when you cut the next figure, it will have the delay blowing function. Then it's blow delay. Whenever the stage of machine is whether it's manual or automatic, the delay of its starting blowing. This is the time set it to delay. It is set it to 600 milliseconds. This is to determine when you click the button on, when you press the button on your remote, what is blowing out. For gas change delay is for after perforation, it will delay 600 milliseconds. Delay cutting or breakpoint continuation at the first blow. And then when we stop processing, there is delay in blowing. During the cutting process, the first one is finished, then stop blowing and stop breaking on the second one. At this point, it's time to stop blowing again, and then it will be a delay of 600 milliseconds. This is flowing pressure for nitrogen and oxygen. Here is the distance between the closed air when the two parts are less than 20 millimeter distance. After the first part is cut, move to the second part. Here is the closed air distance. When the distance between two parts is less than 20 millimeter, it won't turn off the gas when it moves to the other parts. But when it's greater than 20 millimeter distance, it will turn off the gas. So when you don't turn off the gas, it will be trouble with gas on in such 20 millimeter distance. So when it's greater than 20 millimeter, it will turn it off, and then cutting head will move and then turn it on again. Then this is gas flushing function. This is to blowing across the nozzles. Here is the pressure, duration, interval. This is interval between two different bottles. And this is the beginning of the process. Priority to blow air and click to stop processing. This is the number of times the gas washes out of the nozzles after clicking the stop process. This is number of gas score as a breakpoint. Here, click to stop processing. So gas pressure will be 5 bar, duration will be 600 milliseconds. So it will stop for 500 milliseconds and then start the other blowing. And it will repeat for 3 times. This is burst parameter. The power percentage, laser frequency, duty ratio, and delay. So when we click the burst here on the right hand side, it will come out for 300 milliseconds as we set here. And here is the velocity. So here is manufacturer permission. Need to enter password. You may contact our after-sales engineers to get the password, and we can help you with it. You can zoom in and zoom out. Speed parameters above can be adjusted, but we don't advance to do so. This is the frame speed for frame function. Velocity of space shift. Acceleration, the accuracy. Change time of acceleration of space flight. The shorter the time, the faster the acceleration changes, and faster the speed increases. This is the maximum cutting speed of a circle. This is changing acceleration. Corner arrow. Now we will discuss about system parameters. Also, we don't advance to change it neither. Error compensation. This cannot be modified. This is speed parameter for manual control. Jog speed. Also manual acceleration, manual axle accuracy, variable time. This is accuracy for processing. Cannot be modified. This is monitoring of oil and gas control. Exhaust function, ventilation, focus control. Here is cleaning nozzle, buzzer, advanced functions, habitual setting for simulation function, fixed point, breakpoint continuing function, distance between forward or backwards, for leapfrog, this is scan setting, fly cut, edge founding. Other parameters, laser, one key cut-in place setting. Is cut shift. One clip truncation. This is different modes for operator, for manufacturer. So for operator, we don't suggest to change anything here. Then is servo drive setting. As this is demo, no drive here. So we can't see the corresponding interface. Normally we don't need to change anything on the drive setting too. And this is follow interface. about the Z-axis, which is the cutting head, and some basic information of the system. Height of the photo. You can input a figure here. Maximum speed. Z-axis velocity. Capacitance, follow height is the distance between your plate to the cutting head tip. Again, distance between nozzle tip and the plate. Maximum velocity, follow gain. Okay. This is the same as the function keys and the keys in your remote. This is follow function. Calibration. One key calibrate. This is manual calibration. And then Z home. We turn the Z-axis to home. Layering calibration. So for Z-axis parameter, we don't recommend to do any changes. Here is the setting for sensor system. Speed, real-time state check, manual speed. So the permission is also mainly for manufacturer. Then here comes the laser setting. So you can see here that is Raycus. Power is 6 kilowatt. The pulse width, first parameter. Same as what we just talked about. This is the mode for communication between the machine and laser source system. COM port, use laser used time. So you don't really need to change things here. You can select manufacturer and you can switch between operator and manufacturer. Then after you change any parameter, please click apply. Then it will work after that. Or it will doesn't happen if you don't click apply. Next one is about maintenance of the machine. Here is many reminders about the maintenance functions. Like clean the oil tank. So there are regular maintenance jobs to do. Then here's the reminder we set in the system to remind you about that. Cleaning the filters. So when you click manufacturer mode, you can set the dates, periods for maintenance. Sorry, it's in Chinese. I think we will get it improved later. And also delete it. So next item is machine maintenance. Next is signal setting. This is to clear the signals or settings or manual signal connection test. Signal setting of all axes. Adjusting parameter for X, Y, or Z axis. So this is screw valve compensation. The screw compensation, X or Y. However, you need professional devices to do that. For stop position, and position. So here's the cutting vertical arrow. This is to ensure the beam keeps perpendicular. So it is not recommended to do any changes. Lubricating oil. How to correct the pressure. To adjust the gas. Calibration. So choose the corresponding gas. Then there are data groups such as 15. Then you can see here. If we set it as 10, there will be only 10 sets. Click this button to blow gas. Automatic grouping, and then start the blowing test. So it's manual blowing test. can also click here. Click the output button. Blowing duration, automatic blowing and its duration. Nozzle model, single or double. Diameter. You can also apply the same set of calibration data. This is output voltage and corresponding blowing pressure. So output voltage signal is shown. Actual pressure against the output one. To calibrate the actual gas. When you need to update it, you may update it. Normally they are well tested and set it before we ship the machine to you. G code. And this is the speed. But we don't recommend to change this focus control. The slow speed and fast moving speed. Focus adjustment. Adjust the focus. Back to the stop point. Back to 0 or reset. Now it's back to 0. Focus calibration will be just similar as gasket calibration. So we will not demo for this function again. This is laser monitoring. The test allows to be conducted in groups. This is theoretic voltage and actual voltage. Automatic output interval is 3 seconds. You can also choose manual test. This is custom instructions debug. It will require a password to do so. It's self-defining the path. Normally you don't need to use such function. And disable action of flow edit. is strictly prohibited to do so. This will require a professional device to correct the machine accuracy or precision. Spherometer is required. So please do not change anything here. Then it's also change. So automatic nozzle change is now an optional function now for P series HUD. So manage the information of nozzles, adding some new types or deleting the ones you don't need. Now nozzle cleaning, automatic nozzle changing. Both functions are available as optional upgrade for a machine. You may contact your regional sales for further information if you need such function. So again, you can sort different types of nozzles. Nozzle size, name, diameter. Last one is the advanced setting of the system. It shows the version, hardware, device number, and then register code. It will show the validity period of the software. So remaining time is without expiration, so it's a permanent license. You may input your password to check the machine information. This is the backup package. We'll back up the entire software and all its parameters. So we covered select what you have backup previously. Parameter backup. But you got to remember the location where you save the records. So now we save it in desktop. You can search through my computer, find out your backup parameters. So here is language options. There are different language you can choose. For hub, this is menus. As this is a demo version, it cannot be opened. And there are lists of shortcut keys. This is shutdown, restart the software, close, restart the system, shut down the system, show desktop. So you see here.